Okay, so we know that the free energy of the superconducting state is lower than the free energy of the normal state. When the material turns superconducting, the electronic state actually lowers its energy and goes into a lower energetic state available inside the system. What is that state? We will subsequently come to know about it. It's a very interesting state that is formed. But for now, you just from what the equations tell you is that the energy of the superconducting state or the electronic state present inside the superconductor is lower in energy compared to that of the normal state. Now, what is the known free energy inside a normal metal, for example, with free electrons? To get an idea of Bc square by nu naught, the amount by which the energy is getting suppressed, what is it that in a normal metal, how much is the level of the free energy inside a normal metal with free electrons? Let's estimate that. And that we know from our free electron theory in condensed matter physics. That let's work that out. Well, I mean, I'll not work it out, but I'll just briefly mention it to you that for a solid with a free electron gas, we know that the internal energy of the free electron gas is epsilon E GE dE, where the energy is from 0 to the Fermi energy. E is the density of states for the free electron gas and at an energy E. So for electrons at an energy E, and GE is the density of states integrated over all the energies possible, which can go up to the Fermi energy. This you know from your condensed matter physics course, and therefore the internal energy of the system you can show is 3 by 5 NEF. Recall that EF is the Fermi energy is proportional to n raised to some power where n is the density of electrons, number of electrons per unit volume. This is the density of electrons, and the power P depends on the dimensionality of the solid, whether it is in 2 dimension, whether it's 3 dimension or in 1 dimension. This dimensionality P, this power depends on this dimensionality. Now for a 3-dimensional solid, of course you can work it out. I leave it to you. Just find out these expressions and you can put them in, and you can find out that the pressure on the free electron gas, which is delta U by delta V, you can show is equal to 2 by 3 U by V, 2 by 3 U by V, because you have to take a derivative of this term and derivative with respect to volume of the free energy, and that corresponds to taking a derivative with this density of electrons with respect to volume, and since there is already a volume sitting there, you will get this out, and this corresponds to 2 by 5 NEF for a 3-dimensional electronic solid. Okay, and the density G, the free energy G, which is equal to which implies PV is equal to 2 by 5 NEF, or the free energy, which is U plus PV, will give you NEF. Therefore, the free energy of a normal, so let us take this as the normal solid which has only free electrons inside it, okay, and is non-superconducting. The free energy per particle is of the order of the Fermi energy, which is about 1 to 10 electron volts. This is the typical scale of the free energy of the free energy per particle or per electron inside the solid. Okay, now let us look at the free energy, this difference, that once it becomes superconducting, if you recall, the free energy in the superconducting state at temperature T is lower than the free energy for the system at, if it is normal, by an amount Bc square by 2 mu naught. So let us estimate how much of what is this per electron. Okay, how much is this Bc square by 2 mu naught per electron in the superconducting state. Let's do an estimate of this. So here what is shown is the critical magnetic field versus temperature for a variety of different materials. This has been determined for different materials. Okay, this is the critical transition temperature on the x-axis, and on the y-axis you have the critical magnetic field Bc. And you see that there is of course a whole range of values which vary from 10 raised to minus 5 Tesla to about 0.1 Tesla. The highest one is of course niobium, which is actually which is weakly type 2, and it is a type 1 or type 2. It's on that boundary. Okay, however, it has a reasonably high critical field amongst the elemental materials. It has a sufficiently high TC of 10 Kelvin without any pressure. Okay, and there are of course whole lot of materials, and it varies. Okay, so aluminium is somewhere close to 0.2 Tesla. Aluminium here, okay, it has a TC of around slightly above 1 Kelvin, and it has about 10 raised to minus 2 is the critical field. So using these values for aluminium, okay, let us try and find out what is Bc square by 2 mu naught. And of course these have been found using the same magnetization technique. Okay, or you actually find how much is this energy gap, which I'll come to later on, and determine the critical field or upper and lower critical field, and if it is a type 2 superconductor and so on, and use those techniques from magnetization measurements to determine the critical field. So using these values, let us try and estimate what is the critical, how much is Bc square by 2 mu naught. Now aluminium has a critical field of 0.01 Tesla. So Bc square by 2 mu naught will be of the order of 10 raised to 3 by 4 pi joules per meter cube. Okay, you just put in the values, you will get it. This is going to be roughly of this order, and this will therefore correspond to about 10 raised to 22 by 4 pi electron volt per meter cube. And if I convert this into angstroms, meter to angstroms, then this will turn out to be 10 raised to minus 8 by 4 pi electron volt per angstrom cube. So this is of Bc square by, now Bc square by 2 mu naught is of the order of 10 raised to minus 8 by 4 pi electron volts per angstrom cube. Now aluminium has an FCC structure, which implies 4 aluminium atoms per cubic unit cell. Volume of cubic unit cell of aluminium is about 16 angstrom cube from the lattice parameters determined by X-ray diffraction and so on. For aluminium, this is the volume. So Bc square by 2 mu naught energy per unit cell is 10 raised to minus 8 by 4 pi into the volume of the unit cell, 16 angstrom cube into EV by angstrom cube. So this will give you the amount of energy. So instead of saying Bc square by 2 mu naught, amount of energy per unit cell, the amount of the condensation energy per unit cell, condensation energy, because Bc square by 2 mu naught goes by the name of the superconducting condensation energy. The condensation energy per unit cell is roughly 16 into 10 raised to power of minus 8 by 4 pi eV. Now each aluminium atom donates 3 electrons. So in a unit cell, 12 electrons are present, which are donated by the 4 atoms per unit cell of aluminium in the FCC lattice, and each atom donates 4, so there are 12 electrons, and the condensation energy is divided between these 12 electrons. So the condensation energy per electron in the superconducting state becomes 16 by 12 into 4 pi into 10 raised to power of minus 8 electron volts. Okay, this is the typical energy scale. This is the typical energy scale, which is about 10 raised to so this is far less than the 1 to 10 electron volt for a normal electron inside a metal, for example. So therefore, the free energy, so the Bc square by 2 mu naught per electron in the superconducting state is much less than the free energy for an electron in a normal metal, which is of the order of the Fermi energy, and it ranges in 1 to 10 kilo electron volt. So this is consistent with our argument that when you cool the system in below its TC, the electrons actually condense into a state with very low energy. It goes into a much more lower energetic state. It lowers its energy, and that energy is much lower than the Fermi energy. The amount by which it gets lowered is nowhere close to the Fermi energy. So recall that this is the difference between the energy of the superconducting state and the normal state. Okay, this is the amount of energy difference which is created. Now, so therefore, the free energy difference of a solid which contains n number of electrons, okay, between the normal state and superconducting state is GnT0 minus GsT0 is Bc square by 2 mu naught. Okay, what we calculated here was the difference in energy Bc square by 2 mu naught per electron in the superconducting state. The difference, the value of the difference in the free energy per electron in the superconducting state. For n electrons, it is of this order. Okay, and so there is going to be a finite difference between the in a normal metal with free electrons, the free energy will be of the order of n times EF. Okay, so with respect to this value, the free energy of the superconducting state is depressed by Bc square by 2 mu naught. So it is lowering its energy. The electronic state lowers its energy as it goes into the superconducting state. Now, Bc is actually a function of temperature, and that has been determined from experiments. where people actually measure. For example, suppose you're finding the critical field from an experiment like this needn't be the actual experiment to determine critical field, but suppose for example you are determining an experiment where the magnetization crashes at the critical field for say type 1 materials, then one can find out, and this has been seen for with various ways and with different this thing, that to a large extent the temperature dependence of the critical field, this critical field which you determine has a temperature dependence, and the temperature dependence goes as Hc0 1 minus T by Tc the whole square. Okay, this is the form of the temperature dependence which has been found in quite a large number of superconductors, though not all, but it is somewhat of a general form that one can use typically. Okay, not necessarily the most accurate, but this is a typical form that one can use. And so therefore the GNT, the temperature dependence between the superconducting state for T less than Tc. This is also valid because critical fields do not exist above Tc, they exist only below Tc. So for T less than Tc, the difference between the free energy of the superconducting state and the normal state is Vc0 the whole square by 2 mu naught. This is the critical field at 0 temperature. Bc0 the whole square by 2 mu naught 1 minus T by Tc the whole square. This gives you the temperature dependence of the difference in free energy between the superconducting state and the normal state. So let's sketch this. If you recall that from the free electron theory, we had already derived that the temperature dependence of the free energy is minus gamma. Just let me recall this 1 second. Minus gamma T square by 2 minus a T raised to 4 by 12. So let us plot this free energy. If I plot this free energy, then as a function of increasing temperature with respect to some value in the at 0 temperature, okay, the free energy in the normal state, if I draw it in blue, this free energy in the normal state will decrease like this as you increase the temperature. This is the normal state free energy. And if you take the superconducting state, you can write the temperature dependence of the superconducting state as GST is equal to GNT minus Vc0 the whole square by 2 mu naught 1 minus T by Tc the whole square, where this GNT is already given above. So you can plot the temperature dependence of the superconducting state and the temperature dependence of the superconducting state. You can show it as follows. I am exaggerating the difference, but so the point or the temperature above which the superconductor turns normal, that temperature is the critical temperature where there is no difference between the temperature dependence of the normal state and the superconducting state, namely between the blue line and the green line, because at Tc this term becomes equal to 0, the free energy becomes equal to the normal state free energy, so the behavior is exactly identical. But as you go below in temperature, this term starts contributing and the maximum value is Bc0 square by 2 mu naught, at t equal to 0. So this is at t equal to 0 the normal state free energy, and with respect to that value there is a suppression by in the superconducting state. The free energy gets suppressed with respect to the normal state. The free energy of the superconducting state is lower, and the point at which the two merge into each other, that is your critical temperature. So this is thermodynamically how one can discuss the superconducting state and the lowering of the energy of the superconducting state, free energy of the superconducting state.